Hello everyone, I'm back, and let me show you what I did yesterday. So I only got a half a day in yesterday because I had to go run around and get supplies. I am out of resin, or almost out of resin. That was a 5-gallon bucket. And then I went and got some bulk cabosil. My fiberglass guy was out of resin, roving for his chopper gun and gel coat. So I had to go run around and get all that stuff so that progress can continue. So what I did was I put the front end up on a ladder so that I'm working on putting the second layer of fiberglass mat on this thing to reinforce it and to fill in some areas that I mistakenly missed the first time. So what I wanted to do was get this front end solidified. My short-term goal is I have to get a front end, which is just this nose piece, to Untitled Motorsports this week so that I'm not holding them up. I delivered the hood to them at the end of last week. So I had to make sure I got this part done. This pocket where these headlights are, you can see it's quite curved. So what I did was I actually put resin in there, and I put some cloth on this side first. And I mixed up some fiberglass, but I made it a little bit too hot. So while I was working on this, cutting the little pieces of fiberglass to sections to put in there, I did that, put some fiberglass in there. I come over here and the resin was already kicking. So what I did was I literally poured the resin in here. I bought some fiberglass strands, chopped strands, and so that's what these little pieces are that you see in there. Kind of looks like, I don't know, little short pieces of white fiberglass. Apparently, because the resin had already started kicking, it wouldn't absorb, the little fiberglass strands wouldn't absorb the resin. Doesn't matter, it's solid enough to do what I need it to do. All I need this thing is to maintain shape. It's already had the first layer of fiberglass, so this is just reinforcing. Ideally, I would love to fill this whole thing in with solid, but it's kind of overkill. So I just went ahead and put in as much as I could. I literally mixed up 2 cups of resin and said, all right, I'll use up 2 cups of resin and see what it does. So I think it's strong enough that it's going to maintain its shape, which was my only goal. So that's where I'm at. So then I wanted to get this done so that then when I'm doing all my running around and getting supplies for the next step, this is curing. So that this morning it would be done and I could take this thing and turn it on its side. The reason I need to turn it on the side is these areas right here. I was not overly concerned with these. I have other parts. I can always make these side pieces later. If you looked at my video yesterday on the C8, and this you can see maybe, I'm trying to think. Anyway, oh, that's it. See, this is the rear of the fender opening, of the wheel opening. And then I go back to the door. Well, on the C2, the wheel is significantly in front of the door because it's front engine. Because the C8's mid-engine or rear engine, there's a lot, everything's shifted. So the distance from the rear of the wheel opening to the door is, what is that, 2 feet, 1.5 feet, something like that? I'm just guessing. If you come over here and look at the C8, the distance from the rear of the wheel opening to the door is about, 8 inches, I guess, something like that. So this has to be cut off about right here, let's say, or here, or whatever. But I will probably end up filling in these vents. I might leave them, I might not. I have not decided. I'm actually going to have to see it on the car. The problem is that the door is going to come in here, and I don't think we're going to continue this feature onto the door. I guess that is an option I hadn't thought of. I could continue this feature onto the door. Cut it here. This would be the fender part, and then I would go ahead and graft these vent pieces into the door. I might do that. I hadn't even thought of it until just now. Anyway, regardless, I just need to get this thing done so it is a somewhat solid mold. So what I'm going to do today is turn this mold on its side and go ahead, and the second layer, oh, you can see the second layer stops right there where it's a little bit different shade than seen through the gel coat. So it's not a big section, but it's very intricate, getting all these nooks and crannies filled up with fiberglass and resin. So I'm going to do this side and then the other side. And it takes a couple hours, an hour or so I guess, for the fiberglass to get hard enough that you can leave it alone. So I'm going to do both of these. This area right here, I had missed the first coat, and so when I took the mold off, it actually cracked. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, there you go. You can see it cracked right here. The reason why is because that is gel coat with a thin coat of just pure resin on there. I was hoping the pure resin would hold enough to not crack when I took this off, but it is brittle, and so it did crack. So I went ahead and put everything back together, and so I'm putting fiberglass on top of it to reinforce it, and then I'm going to add another layer now to go ahead and reinforce this a little bit more. Again, I wasn't worried about it because I didn't even think I was going to use this section. I was just doing it so that I did have a full mold in case I ever wanted it in the future. I don't have a short-term need for the full mold. Now, I was thinking last night that there is a very, very slight chance that this front end would come close to fitting on a C6 Corvette, almost as it is. I don't know because my C6 is not here, but that's the other thing, is by having a full mold, I can make a full front end and then test fit it on a C6. I have a sneaking suspicion I'll have to cut it up and modify it significantly, not nearly as much as I do for the C8, but I doubt seriously it'll just bolt on. But I need that so that I can put it on, and then I can say, okay, it doesn't fit, this needs to be moved here, that needs to be moved there, whatever it takes. So my goal today is to get both of these sides reinforced with another layer of fiberglass mat. Then I am actually going to separate these parts again, and I'm going to actually make that front end piece. So that's going to consist of putting the mold release on the inside of that nose piece, and then putting fiberglass in there. I do have gray gel coat that I could put on there, and I'm like on the fence as to whether I would put the gel coat on there. It would give it a nicer surface finish, but also because that thing's just going to have to be grafted onto the front end of something else, I'm not sure if it's worth the effort and time to put the gel coat on there. I'll decide later today. Obviously, I have to decide. It does slow things down a little bit because you put the gel coat on and it has to cure, but an hour or so should be sufficient, so it may be worth an hour or so. The other thing is, wherever it's grafted on, obviously you have to grind or sand through the gel coat, because you don't want to try to be patching gel coat to gel coat. You actually want to be attaching raw fiberglass in both cases. Anyway, now that I'm thinking about it, I may go ahead and use the gel coat. That's all I've got for now. Just wanted to catch everyone up and show you what I've done the last day, and hopefully tomorrow I will be pulling a front end out of this mold. All right, like, subscribe, hit the alert. Hit the thanks if you want to donate. And if you don't like what I'm doing, you don't know jack. Bye.